is sex really about power? So what's the role of power dynamics in sex? With everything you understand, like from the survey, in terms of what people are turned on by, you've talked about like the preferences that women versus men have for like submissiveness and dominance. And we've already talked about it a little bit, but like it's expressed more strongly. Yeah, I already forget the results, but I feel like women have more preference to be submissive.
Yeah, this is one of the things that got me into researching fetishes to begin with, because I think I came across some data. I did like a brief survey where roughly around 60% of women report being submissive and 40% of men report being dominant. And this was really fascinating to me. I'm like, well, why is there this gap? Like, why do we not? Because I guess I have some priors that maybe this is an evolutionary thing, like the submission dominant, like strong men, and like women be like, oh, it's hot man, the men are like ravaging and stuff. I'm like, shouldn't this be in our genes? But there's a gap.
What's the gap?
The gap is the dominant submissive gap. More women are submissive than there are dominant men.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's a pretty significant gap. And this is held up, like, it depends on what you're testing. I've tested a bunch of things. This is part of why I did this big survey.
Nice.
But it depends again on like what kind of dominance you're measuring. But overall, it's a roughly 40 to 60%.
So when you say there's not many dominant men, then the meaning like they express like a desire to be dominant in a relationship?
Yeah. Or like sexually in bed. So like if I ask questions like, how much do you like being dominant in bed? Like men are less likely to answer strong yes to that question. But if I ask, are you likely to be submissive? Like women are very much yes.
Really? And that's expressive? Like that represents truth?
My guess.
What's wrong with men?
So this is, I think there's some reflection in like Fet Life. So Fet Life is this website where people like sign up and connect based on their fetishes. Yeah. And this is like, you can kind of see it picked up in the forum posts about like how like dominant men are getting laid so much, and submissives are always looking for a dominant. Like it's an unequal market.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is great news. I didn't know this. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what does it reflect about modern society? Is that like is that because there's these trends about like decreased masculinity or that kind of stuff?
So
is that similar?
I'm trying not to hold on to one theory because I'm not sure. One is possible like decreasing testosterone levels. Testosterone seems to be, I have a little bit of other research, but I'm still checking it out, that seems to indicate that higher testosterone, you're more likely to be dominant. So if we're seeing decreased testosterone levels across society, we should be seeing a greater gap.
This is so fascinating. Once again, this is like a super interesting way to look at humanity, because it is such an important part of humanity. And so, like, how many people are doing large scale research like this? I feel like you're like at the top of the world. You're like world class at the top of the world doing research on this stuff.
Yeah, I think I might have the biggest, most comprehensive fetish data set in the world right now.
That's epic.
Thank you. I'm really happy about it. I'm very proud.
Yeah. And it's, it's probably growing, but it's also enabling you to establish a name to where you, like a prestige, like a reputation, to where people can go to you to like trust you more and more, to do longer surveys, perhaps. Like,
yeah, maybe. I think it's the data analysis afterwards is very different from like the survey design itself. So sure. I'm still very amateur at the data analysis.
Yeah, but you can always catch up on that. Yeah. I guess the data analysis does teach you how to ask better questions in order to understand.
Yes, it goes back and forth. Like as I'm looking at the data, it informs the way I want to phrase questions the next time.
So women are more, at least in private, able to say that they would like to be submissive, and men, even in private, are not disproportionately saying they're not willing to be dominant.
Yeah. So it's possible if this is caused by decreasing testosterone levels, and this means that we're probably having less satisfying sex overall. Like we're becoming less and less sexually compatible as time goes on. To be fair, I'm not sure that it is connected to testosterone levels. Like it's possible that this is just like a genetic thing. Like maybe the gay uncle theory, like the idea is like maybe gay people evolved to like be sort of taking themselves out of the gene pool to be assistants. And like it's possible that like there's a certain percentage of men sort of like quote unquote evolved to be submissive, to take themselves out of sexual competition, and to instead be like the monkeys revolving at the edge of the pack. It's unclear.
Oh, it's a method of survival? Like, so you stay out of the competition?
Yeah, and I'm like a little sus about these kinds of evo psych theories. So I'm just saying it because it's like
these are different ideas that are possible. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I'm not saying that it's definitely testosterone. There's other things. It's also possible that it's culture. People are definitely going to bring that up. Based on my survey, though, it doesn't seem to be any evidence of that. Like, I asked about like how much pressure was put on you to be, agenty in your childhood. Like a lot of questions around this kind of thing, and no correlation at all to dominance.